The mechanic who spends his days pulling warped decks off machines that cost $4,000 and lasted 3 seasons, rebuilding transmissions that failed before the warranty conversation even started, and quietly shaking his head at the component choices hiding behind the prettiest paint on the dealer floor. That man goes home on Friday and buys one specific zero-turn mower for his own yard. And that distinction is the most important thing you will hear before you spend a single dollar on a zero-turn mower this year. Because when that man reaches into his own pocket for his own property with zero reason to be anything but completely honest, he is not falling for a commercial. He is not impressed by showroom lighting or a salesperson's confidence. He is buying with the knowledge of every machine he has personally watched fail from the inside out. And that knowledge is worth more than every review, every rating, and every advertisement this industry has ever produced combined. If you have been trying to figure out which zero-turn mower actually earns the money, not which one markets best, not which one the big box store pushes hardest, what is coming in this video is the answer that no manufacturer wants sitting on YouTube. Stay right here and find out exactly what it is. You want to know what a mechanic buys when nobody is watching his wallet but him? Not what the commercials say, not what the big box store pushes, what he actually rolls off the trailer and parks in his own garage. That answer, more often than people expect, is a Hustler Fastrak SDX. And the story behind why is one you need to hear before you spend a single dollar on any zero-turn. Hustler Turf Equipment was born in Heston, Kansas in 1964. And here is the part most people do not know. They did not just enter the zero-turn market, they built the first commercially viable zero-turn mower on the planet under the Hustler name through Excel Industries. Now the machine and why it matters to the person reading a spec sheet instead of a brochure. Engine options run Kawasaki or Kohler from 23 to 25 horsepower with displacement in the 726 cubic centimeter range. The transmission is a Hydrogear ZT3100, a commercial adjacent transaxle that a trained mechanic recognizes immediately as a serious unit, not a consumer-grade EZT. Ground speed pushes 8 miles per hour forward. Blade tip speed runs approximately 18,500 feet per minute. The fabricated steel deck, built to 10-gauge thickness, comes in 48 to 60-inch cutting widths. Height adjusts from 1.5 to 4.5 inches. Fuel tank holds 3.5 gallons. Productivity runs around 3.5 acres per hour on open terrain. The machine weighs approximately 800 pounds depending on configuration. And to the mechanic evaluating stability on a slope for his own property, that weight is not a flaw. Now the part that stings, and this channel does not hide it. The steering sensitivity catches first-time riders hard. Touch those lap bars and the machine moves fast and aggressively. And if you have never driven one before, you will scalp your lawn the first weekend. The seat is decent, but not a 6-hour seat. If your Hustler dealer is 60 miles away, warranty work becomes a road trip problem real fast. Some landscapers openly call this machine overrated, saying cut quality in thick, wet Bermuda grass exposes limitations a true commercial unit would not show. That criticism is real, and it is fair. The mechanic acknowledges every word of it. And he still buys it, with his own money for his own yard, because he is not looking at paint. He is looking underneath. He sees accessible grease points, smart belt routing, a fabricated deck that can be repaired instead of replaced, a Kawasaki engine with parts available almost anywhere in the country, and a Hydrogear ZT3100 that he knows will still be running long after the EZT units on the competing machines have been rebuilt twice. The lifetime deck shell warranty tells him exactly how much confidence Hustler has in its own construction, and he understands what that means in real ownership costs over real years on his own property. Positioned at number 2 is the Scag Tiger Cat 2. A commercial-grade machine built to deliver Turf Tiger-level durability, cut quality, and long-term reliability in a tighter, faster package that serious buyers and experienced mechanics trust because they know it was engineered to outlast, outwork, and outcut most mowers in its class for years to come. Scag Power Equipment was founded in 1983 out of Mayville, Wisconsin, and they built their name on one principle: make it commercial grade or don't make it at all. They never chased the big box retail market. They never watered down their machines to hit a friendlier price point. Every Scag that has ever left that factory was built with the assumption that someone was going to run it hard every single day, for years without mercy. That reputation didn't come from advertising. It came from decades of machines that simply refused to die. Cat 2 comes equipped with engine options including the Kawasaki FX 730V at 23.5 horsepower and the Kawasaki FX 800V pushing 25.5 horsepower, engines that professional mechanics recognize on site as proven, long-running, parts-available workhorses. Deck sizes run 48, 52, and 61 inches. The Velocity Plus cutter deck is fabricated from 7-gauge steel, not stamped, not folded, welded and built deep at 5.5 inches to move air like a machine twice its price. Ground speed hits 10 miles per hour forward and 5 miles per hour in reverse, and the machine sits on Hydro Gear ZT3400 transaxles that have logged millions of commercial hours across the industry. The dual fuel tanks hold a combined 10 gallons. The whole machine tips the scale around 1,100 pounds depending on configuration. Real dealer pricing on the Tiger Cat 2 runs between $9,500 and $11,800 depending on deck and engine selection. Now let me tell you what the brochure won't say, because that is where this conversation gets honest. The Tiger Cat 2 has critics, and some of them have legitimate points. That weight is brutal on soft ground. After a rain, you will leave ruts in a residential lawn that will take weeks to recover. The Velocity Plus deck is genuinely outstanding in dry conditions, but it will clump and push in thick, wet grass in a way that frustrates homeowners who don't have time to wait for the right cutting window. Some buyers openly call this machine overpriced for what it delivers on a residential lot, and at nearly $10,000 before you even get to a 61-inch deck, that argument has weight. Dealer availability in rural areas can also leave you stranded on a timeline that doesn't care about your schedule. And yet mechanics still buy the Scag Tiger Cat 2 because when they look at it, they see cast iron spindle housings built to survive decades of abuse, rebuildable Hydro Gear ZT3400 transaxles they can service themselves, and a 7-gauge steel deck that is not going to warp, crack, or fold under real work. Positioned at number 3 is the Ferris 500S, the kind of zero-turn that instantly gets a mechanic's attention, not because of flashy marketing or the badge on the hood, but because the moment it rolls over rough ground, the suspension absorbs the punishment instead of sending every impact straight through your back, and that alone is why so many experienced owners keep coming back to it with zero regret. Ferris Industries was born in 1988 out of Munnsville, New York, and they changed the zero-turn industry permanently when they introduced suspension technology to a category that had always treated operator comfort like an afterthought. Briggs & Stratton acquired Ferris in 1999, and while that acquisition raised eyebrows then and still raises them now, the engineering identity of Ferris never got watered down. The suspension philosophy that built this brand is still alive in every machine they produce, and the 500S carries that DNA directly. The 500S runs a Briggs & Stratton commercial turf engine pushing 25 horsepower through 726 cubic centimeters of displacement, enough grunt to handle thick fescue, overgrown Bermuda, and anything a residential yard throws at it without lugging or hesitating. Deck sizes run 48 and 61 inches, both built from 7-gauge fabricated steel that is welded, not stamped. Ground speed reaches 10 miles per hour forward. Blade tip speed runs approximately 18,500 feet per minute. The machine rides on Hydro Gear ZT3400 transaxles, commercial hydrostatic units found on machines costing significantly more, and turns in around 3.5 acres per hour of productivity on open terrain. Fuel tank holds 6.5 gallons. Cutting height adjusts from 1.5 to 5 inches. The whole machine weighs around 1,000 pounds depending on deck configuration. A mechanic reading that component list is not seeing a residential mower. He is seeing a commercial investment wearing a residential price tag. Dealer pricing runs between $7,500 and $9,200 depending on deck size and region. Now the honest part. The Ferris 500S gets called overrated constantly, and some of that criticism is earned. The forefront suspension on the 500S is a front caster system. It is not the full independent suspension that makes the IS700Z and the bigger IS series machines legendary. Buyers who expect the full Ferris suspension experience and walk out with a 500S sometimes feel shortchanged, and that gap between expectation and reality is real. The Briggs & Stratton engine carries a stigma that is difficult to shake in professional circles. Mechanics who have rebuilt Kawasaki and Kohler engines their entire careers look at that Briggs power plant and immediately start calculating parts availability. Positioned at number 4 is the Ariens Apex, the prosumer zero turn that makes mechanics pause mid-sentence when someone dismisses it as just another residential mower, because anyone who has ever crawled underneath one, felt those spindle housings, and put their hand on that fabricated deck knows this machine carries a standard of honesty that most brands at this price point completely abandoned years ago. Ariens Company was founded in 1933 in Brillion, Wisconsin by Henry Ariens, and here is the part that matters more than any specification: they are still family-owned. Over 90 years of manufacturing history, still operating out of the same Wisconsin roots, still building under the same family name. The Ariens Apex is one of those machines where a mechanic does not need long explanations. The build tells the story instantly. Depending on configuration, it runs Kawasaki or Kohler engines in the 23 to 25 horsepower range with roughly 726 cubic centimeters of displacement, giving you a power plant mechanics already trust because parts and rebuild knowledge are widely available across the country. But the real shift happens once you look deeper. Fabricated 10-gauge steel decks in 48, 52 and 60-inch options, welded and reinforced instead of stamped, immediately separate it from typical residential machines. Hydro Gear Z T2800 transaxles handle drive duties, while ground speed reaches up to 8 miles per hour, and blade tip speed sits around 18,500 feet per minute, numbers that translate into real cutting efficiency, not just paper performance. Add in a 3.5-gallon fuel tank, quarter-inch cutting height adjustments from 1.5 to 4.5 inches, and productivity close to 3.2 acres per hour in open conditions, and you are no longer looking at a casual homeowner mower. You are looking at a machine built to work. And then there is the detail that stops experienced eyes instantly: cast iron spindle housings. At this price point, that is not common, it is intentional. Because once a mechanic sees that, he already knows exactly where Ariens chose to spend the engineering money, and that tells him more than any spec sheet ever could. Now, the honest conversation. The Apex gets called overrated, and some of that criticism is fair. The 8-mile-per-hour ground speed trails commercial competitors on serious acreage. The ZT2800 transaxles are proven and reliable, but they are not the ZT3400 units found on commercial tier machines, and mechanics who know transaxle families notice that gap. The 3.5-gallon tank runs short on larger properties. Some owners report belt wear arriving earlier than expected. Parts access in rural markets can turn a quick fix into a week-long wait. And yet, mechanics still choose the Ariens Apex for their own yards, not because of marketing, but because at this price point it is rare to find cast iron spindle housings and a fully fabricated 10-gauge steel deck in the same machine. The Kawasaki-powered setup means serviceability he can handle himself, with widely available parts and no dependency on proprietary dealer systems. And the fact that Ariens has been building equipment since 1933 is not nostalgia to a mechanic. It is a long-term parts, support, and reliability calculation he understands instantly, especially when thinking in terms of what will still be running a decade from now. Alright folks, that brings us to the end of this video. Every machine covered here was chosen because it earned its place, not because of a price tag, a marketing budget, or how good it looks next to a brand logo. If any of this changed the way you think about your next purchase, or gave you one fact you did not have before you hit play, then this video did exactly what it was meant to do. Go ahead and drop a comment below. Tell us what machine is sitting in your garage right now, or ask the question you've been holding back, because this community does not judge and does not sugarcoat. Hit that subscribe button if you want more content like this, because the next video is already being built the same way this one was, with honesty first and everything else second.